with the chanting. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Okay, so we are on chapter 3. Sheilaji and Neeluji, we cannot see your face. If you want to turn on the video, please. So, chapter 3, since we have few new people, and you might be already familiar with it quite a bit, it's on Karma Yoga. And we are going to be doing verse 13. We finished the 12 verses. So just to recap a little bit, we are talking about all the details of Karma Yoga, science and art of Karma Yoga. Okay, can I request everyone to please check their mute and keep the mute because a lot of background noise started coming.
He's going to be outside first and
okay. So for the new people, just what we do is it works best if you keep it on mute, and when you want to talk, then you just unmute it. It takes 1 second only. So okay. I think this Uma ji needs to mute it. आपका जो Zoom का mute button आपको on करना होगा. I can do it right now. Maybe. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we are doing on Karma Yoga. So a lot of times we have a lot of confusion about what Karma Yoga is. And according to Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga is absolutely imperative to master it. So sometimes we may think, hey, some people go directly in meditation, and also because they have done already their sadhana, they are already master of Karma Yoga. And so everybody needs to figure out where we are in life and see if we are, and we have gone in detail quite a bit about what Karma Yoga is. And one of the aspects of Karma Yoga is yagna spirit. Work, and in the modern language, team spirit, that you're not thinking about yourself selfishly or egotistically or anything. You are thinking of the whole group. The group could be your family, community. You expand yourself up to the universe. Whatever is Shreyas, and we had dealt with this word Shreyas a lot, that something that is good for everybody, not just for me. And when you say everybody, I'm already included in it. So I don't need to specially do anything. If it is something good for everybody, I'll be also get the benefit. So that's another way of looking at it. So keeping that in mind, that whole theme, we did verse 12 last time. And there, Krishna Bhagwan said that how, we talked about in detail about devas, remember? That what devas are, and we have this image of Indra Devata and Vayu Devata and all that. And here we have gone in very much depth that Deva means something that illumines, and all our 5 senses need another aspect for it to function. Like eyes need light, so light becomes a Devata. So, and from where the power is coming of Devata, coming from that highest substratum. And then whoever has this book now, this one, there's a whole detail about different division about devatas, which we didn't read last time. Let me just find out how many of you have this book so that I have an idea. Just raise your hand like this. 1, 2, 3. Not everybody does. So I don't want to confuse. Whoever has it can read it. And the new people who joined, I will encourage them to get the book as soon as possible. Then you can get the most out of it. And even the previous people try to get the book, because if we want to get the most out of, now as the group is getting larger, then book will be very helpful, being on the same page. So just to give you an idea that that there is one God or one Bhagwan, one Ishwar, whatever you want to call it, and then there are several ways people have talked about the division of devas. So it could be 3, it could be 1.5, it could be 33, and then 33 mein they have divided, even our sense organs comes under, unke jo powers hai come under that devas, and then we were discussing that how, just think of a government, how it functions. You have one leader, but then you have so many departments and so many heads of the department that if you need one special kind of job done, you can approach that department, That's why in the olden days, they used to do yagnas, like, hey, barsat chahiye mujhe, Indradev ko prasanna karo, vagara, vagara. So, agar koi soche ki Indradev hi Bhagwan hai, then he's not understanding it completely, but the power to Indra has come from that higher self. और कभी-कभी हमने देखा कि कैसे these department heads को भी अभिमान हो जाता है. Then भगवान has to, उनका अभिमान तोड़ने के लिए उनको आना पड़ता है कि भाई, hey, you are not doing it. Your job is done because of my powers only. So just keeping those things in mind about devas. And then in the last verse we said that the devas and us as jivas, we have to work paraspar harmony. It's give and take relationship. And if the give and take relationship is not done properly, disharmony happens and we suffer, or the whole cosmos suffers. And right now, it's very evident from last so many years that I think Sneha, you have to mute yourself, Sneha. That we have seen that how the environment has been getting slowly destroyed, and now thoda awareness aa raha hai, so it is restoring again. But this verse really speaks loud and clear about it, that if you don't have that harmonious relationship of give and take, you're not going to benefit. So we are hurting ourselves by not doing that. So to me, if we are studying Bhagavad Gita and we don't have the practical application, it doesn't mean anything. So here it's proving it, these kind of verses, that what is happening in today's world. So, and then in the last verse, Krishna Bhagavan used very strong words, that the one who doesn't just does everything selfishly and takes from either from the family, from the society, or from the nature, and doesn't give anything back, that person is a thief. So that's the word he used. That makes us think, that we have to. And I think I was thinking about it in the Western world, there is a very nice phrase: there is no such thing as a free lunch. So you may be thinking I'm getting something free. No, you have to give something. It doesn't have to be in the exact same thing, but the attitude, or like when we talk about giving, it can be giving in many different ways. You can give somebody a smile, you can give somebody a money, you can give whatever it is. You have to be a giving person, because we are taking so much from everybody. So that was the background. With that background, we go to the next verse, which is verse 13. And I'll just chant. On Zoom, we are a little bit limited here, because when we had the regular class where everybody was together, then I would chant and everybody would repeat, but now we cannot do that. So everybody can just do it with me with their Gita. Yagna Shishtashina Santaha Muchyante Sarva Kilbishaihi Bhunjante Te Tvagam Papa Ye Pachantyam Karanat. So this is a verse 13, and the Sanskrit is Yagna Shishtashanaha. Yagna Shishtaha means remnant of the yagna. So जब हम लोग यज्ञ करते हैं, so उसमें से जो बचता है उसको यज्ञ शिष्ट कहा गया है. So yagna shishtina means who eat the remnant of the sacrifice. Santaha is the righteous, means good people. People who are not selfish, people who care about others are sant. Muchyante, freed. Sarva kilbishe, what are they freed of? From all sins. And we'll go in detail what it means. Bhunjante, eat. Te, those. Tu is indeed. Aghama is sin. Papaha, sinful ones. Ye, who. Pachanti, cooks. Atmakaranat, for their own sake. So what does this verse is saying? So there are two different kind of people. One, we consider, okay, good people. What are the characteristics of the good people? That they work in yagna spirit. They are thinking about others, and they are thinking, and they are doing as a teamwork. They are thinking, they have a higher altar, and they do sacrifice. Whatever they have, they sacrifice that. And those are the people. So what happens then when the result comes? What is the remnant of the yagna shishta? किसको कहा गया यहाँ पर? That उसका जो प्रसाद आता है ना, so what is it that you are उस प्रसाद से, अगर उस प्रसाद को खाओ, if you look at it a very superficial meaning, so एक यज्ञ किया, उसमें प्रसाद चढ़ाया, फिर हमको जो मिला हमने खा लिया, फिर that is good. But here the deeper meaning is that you have sacrificed something at a higher altar, then you get it back. Remember, devas give you back. And then, so by eating that prasad, यहाँ पर eating, don't think of just food. In Bhagavad Gita, when they talk about eating, it is with all our five senses. Okay, so they might just give an example of food or hearing or something, but we have to think of all five senses because we are constantly eating through even seeing is like considered eating. So just remember that context. So if we eat that food, then we are freed from our impurities. Impurities of what? Impurities of the mind. So mind में problem है ना. I mean, self-realization का, all the shastras say that the vehicle to reach there is our mind. Mind में we have all dirt in the mind, anger, jealousy, mad, matsarya and all that. So by eating that remnant of the yagna, my attitude, is changes. My purity happens in my mind, and that's what is the prasad, okay? And my mind becomes more calm and peaceful. That's what is going to lead me into meditation and self-realization. So if I jump too much fast at it, it's not going to fructify, okay? So that's what it means. So these are the good people they're talking about. Now, who are the sinful people, he calls them? The other group of people are sinful. So they live selfishly, okay? They keep taking without contributing anything. And how do they take? Which is egotistic and ego desires, constantly thinking about themselves, not thinking about the rest of us. Not caring for the society and all that. So those are the kind of people. Krishna Bhagwan, in very simple words, the analogy he gives is these people are as though cooking and eating sin. Itna matlab, Krishna Bhagwan was not satisfied by just calling them social thief in the last verse. He actually says that if you are selfish and you're not thinking about other people,
what do you sing, please?
Here somebody's voice is again coming. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Never mind. I think Joe, you're not muted. So he's saying that you are as though cooking and eating sin. मतलब इतना strong उन्होंने बोला इसके बारे में. And what happens? It's not like, okay, the whole world is going to suffer because of the world. There are good people who will take care of the world. Don't worry about the world. Who's doing this is going to suffer. How? They will go, what is sin, first of all, in Bhagavad Gita or in Vedanta? Sin, they have called something that takes you away from Bhagwan. Okay? Or something that makes me feel worse than before. mentally. So I will be more like more in bondage, because those kind of actions, selfish action, keeps you in bondage. So I'll be more and more in bondage. Have impurities will increase. Remember, हमारा job क्या था? To remove the impurities. So those good people who work in yagna spirit, with the yagna bhavna, with the higher altar, sacrificing something, and paraspar with devas, give and take relationship, their mind gets purer. Whereas these guys, they increase their impurity, so papas are increasing. So that's the real meaning over here about this, okay? So, and then remember what Krishna Bhagavan originally said in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 3, that we cannot court inaction, meaning you cannot just sit around and do nothing, okay? So that is not a solution. Hey, this job is too difficult, so I will not do it at all. No. So don't be, attached to inaction. So perform your all the duties with integrity, with the yagna bhavna, dedicating to a higher altar. Then you will get nourishment from the devatas. Then your mind will get purer. You will get fulfillment. You will go towards enlightenment, and finally it will happen. Okay? So, and then there's another word in this modern era that Vivekananda has made it very popular, called work is worship. Okay? And this work is worship, when we come to chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, he's going to elaborate on it. And then we have discussed in this class many times, anything you do, if you do it with a yagna bhavna and karma yoga attitude, it becomes a worship. You don't necessarily have to go and do the bhajan or sit in the mandir or bajao ghanti and all that. Fine, if you want to do that, please do that. Nobody's stopping. But, hey, what do I do the other 23 hours? Then you do this work as worship. So your entire life becomes a worship. Entire life becomes a yagna. That's where Krishna Bhagavan is coming from. So what do we do in worship? So one is a yagna. इसमें आहुति डाली जाती है, right? So again वो sacrifice ही हो गया ना आहुति. And then we discussed that जब भी वो सार्वजनिक यज्ञ होता था तो सभी लोग आते थे, and everybody used to bring something according to their capacity, and it doesn't have to be a material thing. If somebody doesn't have anything to offer, they can go and clean. They can go and wind up and all that. So there are hundreds of ways. So you cannot say, oh, I'm so poor, I cannot do this. Somebody are mentally poor, somebody are physically poor, somebody are wealth-wise poor, but then you have other things, So that's what it is. That so we worship में sacrifice होता है. So when we are worshipping by puja, okay, sometimes people who are meditators and all that, they look down upon the people who are doing puja, and we should not, because they're also their offering. It's just like yagna only, that they make a murti and then they offer something to the murti. वो भी एक worship ही है, a form of worship, just like yagna, and they are sacrificing something. So now let's think of what prasad means, okay? And we have discussed one time prasad, Bhagavan said prasad is like a shanti of mind. We have discussed that aspect. This is a different aspect of prasad, because every word in Bhagavad Gita has many different facets to it. So we have to understand each facet to get the holistic picture. Okay? So now everybody has done this in this group. When we go to India, we go to a mandir, and then before going to the mandir, we go to a shop, and we say, when we pick up something for a prasad चढ़ाने के लिए, तो हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं उसको? लड्डू दे दो, राइट? बर्फी दे दो करके हम पैसे देते हैं, फिर हमको 2 किलो बर्फी दे देता है, लड्डू दे देता है. चलो, लड्डू is a very good prasad. Then what do? We take it to the mandir, we give it to the pujari, he offers it, and then he gives us back, right? वो खुद तो नहीं रखता है सारा प्रसाद कभी भी, हमको हमेशा वापस देगा, सेम ही बॉक्स वापस देगा, थोड़ा सा एक निकाल के. जब वो हमको वापस मिलता है, फिर हम इसको क्या बोलते हैं? प्रसाद. We don't call it laddu anymore. You see that? Suddenly वो लड्डू से प्रसाद बन गया. क्यों? कि वो वहां गया भगवान के पास और वापस आया. भगवान को कुछ नहीं चाहिए हमारे से. He is the one who is giving us everything. So it's not like when we offer something, we have a feeling, हाय मैंने इतना sacrifice कर दिया, इतना दे दिया. कुछ नहीं रखा उन्होंने. तुमने जितना दिया उससे डबल तुमको शायद मिल जाएगा. उतना तो मिलेगा ही मिलेगा जितना डाला है. उसका खाली क्वालिटी चेंज हो गया. Okay, so now when I look at that prasad, all of a sudden, I'm not going to dump it anywhere. I'm going to hold it with reverence. I'm going to distribute it to everybody. आपने देखा है प्रसाद कभी भी कोई अकेला बैठ के नहीं खाता है. Strangers आपको प्रसाद देंगे. Oh, come, let's distribute, and that's what Bhagwan is talking about. Do your entire life like that, he's saying. That, offer it to the higher altar. It will come back to you. It changes the whole persona of it. Your mind gets pure. प्रसाद खाते टाइम हम लोग को कितना अच्छी फीलिंग होती है ना. Oh, something good is going to happen. I ate the prasad. All those good vibrations start coming into your mind and body. That's what is this whole thing verse is about. Or something halwa. Say, if I cook halwa at home, it's called halwa. But moment I उसको चढ़ाया मैंने एक deity के आगे, प्रसाद बन जाता है. So when we talk about prasad buddhi, that's what it means. I have done this job. I have offered it to the higher altar. It's coming back to me. I got to accept it as a prasad. And we have discussed that prasad में कभी-कभी कोई चीज़ मुझे अच्छी नहीं भी लगती है खाने में, मैं खा लूँगी उसको. मैं उसमें नखरा नहीं करूँगी because it is a prasad. So any kind of result that comes back to us, we have to treat it like this, okay? So this is called yagna shishta. When it talks about the people who eat remnants of the yagna, their mind gets purified. So after offering whatever comes back to you, usko remnant of yagna bol diya. Okay? So that is the whole context here. But we already know ki flip side is if you don't do that, big trouble. All those things will come. Negative things will come. So with this background, we will, and Swamiji has some other comments, because when Swamiji wrote this Bhagavad Gita ka jo commentary hai, there were a lot of negative things had come in Hinduism. Rituals ko ekdam ugly bana diya tha logon ne. And, pundits were just kind of controlling everything and feeding the general public knowledge of very limited ones, So some of the commentary you will see that he's going deeper into. That's why he's such a revolutionary saint, because he took all this symbolic thing that are there in the Vedas and he practically told us. And even in Bhagavad Gita, it's more like a subtle language. So if you take it from surface, you're not going to get anything, okay? But if you go deep into it, you will get so much out of it, just like this verse. So when we are reading the commentary, keep that in mind. And he will bring few other aspects which are very important too, and we will discuss all that. Okay. Before I go, everybody understood this concept? If anybody has any question on this concept? No? Okay, now who's my volunteer today to read verse 13? Anybody who had not done it before or for a while? I heard Meera ji's hand going up. Yes. Unmute yourself, Meera ji.
The righteous who eat the remnants of the sacrifices are freed from all sins. But those sinful ones who cook food only for their own sake verily eat but sin.
See, I hope that now it's become clear what it means. Because on the surface it looks like एक यज्ञ किया, उसका जो प्रसाद मिल गया, वो किसी ने खा लिया तो वो सब उसके पाप धुल जाएंगे और बाकी लोग जो है वो सब. So now you know what deep meaning it has, okay? Go ahead.
As a contrast to such social criminals feeding themselves upon the social wealth, in producing which they have not brought in any self-effort, in this stanza we have the good who receive for themselves their share after sweating hard in sincere yagna activities. Such people, as explained here, go beyond all sins. The traditional translations try to burrow into the stanza a meaning which is uninspiring and does not fit the context. According to them, the remnants of the yagna means the food left over after performing the 5 great yagnas, which a Brahmana is bound to perform every day. They are: number 1, Dev Yagna, offerings made to the gods; Brahma or Rishi Yagna, learning and spreading the ideas of our scriptural texts; Prita Yagna,
Pitra Yagna.
offering oblations to the dead; Nar or Manushya Yagna, worship of guests or the needy; and Bhut Yagna, feeding the dumb animals and birds. By performing these 5 yagnas, the Vedika tradition promises that the performer will be fully atoning for the unconscious crime which he might have done each day during the use of A, the broomstick; 2, the water pot; C, the mortar and pestle; D, the grinding stone; and E, the oven. If we are to accept this, the traditional interpretation, which has no doubt become now very familiar, we are rather surprised how Krishna could have promised that by this 5-fold yagnas, all sins would be removed. It should have been promised that these 5-fold sins will be eliminated after all. The householder does 1,000 other varieties of sins in his day-to-day life.
Okay, so let's stop here and understand what he's saying. So he's talking about the first paragraph. He's just saying that people who are good, they receive their share after sweating hard in sincere activity. So they are the ones who go beyond the sin. We saw that. Now, a traditional translation of this, because remember, this also, even though Bhagavad Gita is a lot more elaborating the concepts than the other Upanishads and all that, it still is a subtle language, and certain things are considered, understood, because the people who are come up to the Upanishad, they have already studied many other things, so they know the concept. So here, if you see completely on the surface, so there are 5 different yagnas they have to perform, a Brahman. And a Brahman is the one who's like the highest in the ladder of like most sattvic person, okay? So he does this. So it's Deva Yagna, Brahma or Rishi Yagna, Pitra Yagna, Nara Yagna, and Bhuta Yagna. So I'm going to tell you the flip side of this too. That they say these are the 5 rinas we have. Rinas are we are like English mein kya debt.
Debt.
Yeah. So we have a debt when we are born. So like in the Western concept, we say, hey, when I'm born, why should I have a debt? So if they'll tell you why. You are already in debt of these 5 people for your life, for your this current life. So one is a Deva Yagna. Deva is, again, we know that the power that illumines our 5 senses. Simple way, okay? There are many other Devatas also, but just for our understanding. Without them, we can't even function. We can't speak, we can't see, we can't hear, so we are obliged to them, okay? And these are the 5 elements in the... So when we say, if I'm polluting the water, I am polluting the Devata of my taste. Imagine, okay? So I have to do something for them to purify it. Okay, so this is that give and take. Then there is Rishi Yagna, because see, we are studying this Bhagavad Gita. If this Rishi and Munis had not revealed these mantras, we wouldn't know how to go towards self-realization. We wouldn't know what is the purpose of life. So we owe them so much, they have done so much tapascharya. It's not just one Rishi, okay? The entire Rishi Samudaya. And that's why that on Guru Purnima, you the entire Guru concept of the universe you're bowing down to. It's not just your personal Guru, of course you can do that, but it's the whole concept you're bowing down to. So we are obliged to them. We have a rin from them because we are getting. And then Pitra Rina is our ancestors. Our ancestor, because when you're born in a family, some people are born in wealth. Some people are born in wealth of knowledge. Some people are born in wealth of so many different kinds. It doesn't have to be monetary wealth. But, like the sacrifices they have gone through, And like when I was thinking, like in this group also, there might be people like my husband's family came from Pakistan area, what is called Pakistan. That was India before. And the sacrifices are just tremendous. People got killed, they had to drop everything, start all over again. And so my husband, when he's born in that family, all that sacrifice is behind him. So that's how it is, Pitra Yagna, that we have to give back, and then Nara is, there are hundreds and thousands of people help us in our life. Strangers help you. You don't even know. And if you just think about it, how many people help you, it is like the whole universe is helping you. It's like every time, hey, I'm cooking this food, how this food got on the table. Oh, I made it so great. There are 100 or 2,000 people behind it, including the grocery wala. And right now in pandemic, they are suffering over there, and they have to wear this mask. And some of them say, can you believe you have to wear this all day? They're suffocating in it, and they're still doing it for us. See, I'm just telling you that how you kind of think of other people rather than you. So then you can say, I can't pay back him, but you can pay back Nararena by being kind to somebody else, helping somebody else, doing your duties correctly so somebody also benefits. So ये हो गया नर युना हो गया. भूत यज्ञ यहाँ पर animals बोला है, and we'll be shocked to know that they said कि if humans get eliminated from this earth, the earth will be totally fantastic. कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होएगा. But if animals and birds and the Jivanus get eliminated, we will not be able to survive. Because in our life cycle, they have a huge role to play. Because, they keep the environment clean, they keep everything. And, sometimes, we have this great idea into our head, kind of messed up idea, that you eliminate one species or something and then we'll be better off. That's not true. There is some kind of harmony. If it naturally occurs, it is actually beneficial for you. So that becomes a bhuta yagna. We got to be kind to the animals of all kinds, because of that. So if I'm born in this kind of debt, I have to do something to pay back, because remember in the previous couple of verses, it's a give and take, give and take. That's where it's coming from, this. That, these are the 5 things. It doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, did I do the 5 yagnas every day? It's not really that. It's my attitude. It's my awareness of the rinas that I have. And as and when I move forward in my life, the right opportunity, circumstances come, I need to give back. That's what it means, okay? And then these 4 things, that you will be atoned from this water pot and mortar and pestle. This is just symbolic things. Basically saying that if you keep performing these yagnas for the rinas you have, you will be free from all the negativity. Your mind will be pure, happy, quiet, and you will go towards the self-realization better. That's all it means, okay? So
sins of the past are the cause for the present pains, and the present sins would be the cause for the future sorrows. Thus, all causes for the sorrows in social life would, no doubt, be removed if the good and socially conscious members of a community were to feel satisfied in enjoying the remnants of their cooperative work performed in the true yagna spirit.
Okay, so this sentence is very, very powerful over here. Couple of things are important. Sins of the past are the cause of the present pains. We know that all the things that we are responsible for everything in our life. So good or bad, because we have done good and bad karmas, mixed karmas. So that's why we kabhi khushi kabhi gum, those kind of things happen to us. So, but if I start doing things which are right, so my future will be much better. Otherwise, future sorrows will come. And then everybody does their duties correctly. Everybody does in a yagna spirit. Obviously, the community will feel satisfied and enjoy the remnants of the cooperative work. So that yagna shishta word that they have used, that's what it means. That if more people work in harmony, better results for everybody. That's all. Okay.
As a contrast to these, it has been declared that those who cook food for themselves alone eat but sin. It seems that Krishna is perfectly against private property, but not in the sense in which a communist would understand it. Krishna seems to be against the principle of arrogation of wealth and of hoarding the same, motivated by lust of lucre, meant mainly for selfish enjoyment, without any concern for the privations and poverty of the unfortunate folks around in the community. It is said that such hoarders of wealth eat but sin.
So this is as clear now after we have hashed out so much that if you just think about yourself, keep hoarding and keep it for your next 7 generations to come, the wealth and all that, then you're just eating but sin if you're not contributing to the society in various different ways, So that's what it means. So I am going to, the next 2 verses are together, okay, and they are kind of big. So I thought that we will just do one verse so that I can take up the other two, because if I take up just one, that will not be good. The next 2 verses I have put them together. Okay, so we will switch to Kathopanishad, but this was a pretty strong concept. So anybody has any question or comment directly relating to this?
Yeah.
Please.
I want to say something.
Yes.
So here, in my book, it's saying that whenever we are eating food and we don't offer it to God, so that then we are attracting the laws of karma. So it's always good to offer food to the God. And in this yogic sense, we are also lighting the fire within. That means when we are doing pranayama activities, instead of feeding the cells food, we are feeding them with the spiritual energy. So the energy is withdrawn from the cells and the heart, and it goes into the spine. And then when you're feeding the cells with this energy that you're magnetizing, and that's how some of these saints, they can live. They don't need the food and all that as to sustain their bodies, because when you eat and drink, you are actually decaying your cells, because they can only do so much action of digesting and all that, and then get depressed. But those who are doing the igniting the fire within, the astral energy, and they spiritualize the cells, or they give the yagna to the cells, the fire to the cells, then their body becomes immortal. And so this is what we have to do, is just offer first to the God. Anything food we are doing, then you are free from the karma.
I mean, that's good. That was the aspect. The only one thing that I want to make sure that I don't know what you said, the one sentence that their body become immortal. We know that body is not immortal. You mean to say that person becomes immortal? Because we have to distinguish that, because we know that body is Annamaya Kosha. And Annamaya Kosha is more like
Those have been living for 200, 300 years.
Okay, that way. So you can say that, we cannot say the word immortal then. We can say that they can extend their body. But here, I think that I see your point that in the yogic tradition and all, like I said, that this whole concept is for every aspect of life. Okay, and then somebody was mentioning, it was, I think Meeraji last time, that when we are eating food and we look at it as a yagna, that I am giving the ahuti of the food in my Jatra Agni, and I look at it as a divine action, I will never eat something which is terrible. Okay, and then even in the body, like we discussed, that body is one unit, so I'm going to eat something which is good for my entire body, not just what I like to eat because my taste, my tongue likes this. Okay, so I will be more holistic. See how the mind shifts? Sorry.
When you don't offer the food to God, you're also, living in ignorance. That means you're not. So that's why at every thing that we do, we should remember God first. That's true. They're reminding us.
Yeah. And it will come in the later chapter, in chapter 9, when it's like, hey, what can we offer God? So Krishna Bhagwan ne bola, you can offer me, water, flower, fruit, a leaf, if you don't have anything else. So then the question comes, hey, why does God need something? God doesn't need anything, because you are getting from Him, for God's sake. So if we think that we are offering from that perspective, we are fools but the example that Swamiji gave was so beautiful. He said, it's like a small child, like a 2-year-old, or not 2-year, chalo, 5-year-old. Okay. Mommy, it's your birthday. And then makes a little card, and he's bought the card or he bought the pencils from mommy's money only, okay? Mommy ko kitna khushi milti hai. She's going to tell her 5 friends, she's going to frame that, she's going to keep that. It's the love that is being transferred. So when we are offering food or anything to Bhagwan doesn't need anything, but we got everything from him. It's the care and the love that is being transferred, and then Bhagwan gives you back, So that's what this offering means. And then Swamiji also said one thing very, very interesting. He's saying that, like a lot of houses have a tradition, like Sneh is saying that whatever you cook, you offer, right? फिर जब वापस मिलेगा तो क्या बन जाएगा वो? प्रसाद. फिर कोई उसको क्रिटिसाइज कर सकता है? फिर कोई बीवी को बोलेगा नमक कम है, ये है, वो, I don't want to eat this खाना. If you really want a prasad, then you got to take it like a prasad too. You cannot be a hypocrite there then, So it changes my attitude of receiving the food. Someday it is tasty, someday it is not, but it's okay, So there are so many little vyavaharik gunas in these that offering prasad, whatever Sneh is saying, if you analyze it, that's all the so many aspects come in it.
Well, I'd like to make a comment. You mentioned that shlok in chapter 9. It's patram pushpam phalam toyam yomi bhaktya prechati. So he's asking for, Bhagwan says, well, you can offer me a flower, a leaf, water, and fruit, but they are all symbolic also.
Yes. So when we go, I didn't want to go into that aspect yet.
Right, and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Actually, that's the fruit he wants, etc.
Yes, but this is like Bhagavad Gita is one thing that you can dive so deep into it, pull out so many gems from each shloka, but on the surface, this is what I was just saying, that one of the aspect is that whatever you have, don't say I don't have anything to give. You can go to your yard and pick up a leaf. In San Diego, we got leaves and leaves and leaves everywhere. You got flowers too. So it's like, hey, but it's not only the flower, it's not only that, it's the love behind it, but then each one represents something that when we come to that chapter 9, we will do that. Sure. What else? Anybody else?
I wanted to say one thing.
Yes.
Also, it's when you say you offer it to God, it's your faith and your love that He's looking for. Like the example is when Mirabai was given that bowl of poison, from her, and she offered it to God first, and God insisted, like she offered it to God. He had to help her out or eat it first, and He changed the chemistry of the whole thing. She wasn't poisoned at all. So like you said, sometimes God, if you offer it to God, don't we always say the prasad always tastes better than regular food?
Absolutely.
Because there is something that, there's a divine change, or He changed the chemistry or something.
True.
So it's a good idea, like you said, whatever He has given us, if we offer it back to Him, He'll make it only better for us.
Yes. Yeah, very good. Yes, exactly. Okay. Kamla ji has something, right?
I was same thing which she explained, that you don't have to physically offer something. You can just think of God when you're sitting on the dining table. You can pray to Him and you offer mentally. And I think that takes care of it. You don't have to go and get the leaf or have the flower or something. You can just think of that inside you and offer with love. Whatever you offer, that's a real offering.
Yeah, that worked too. And the people who actually get up physically and do it, that counts a lot too, because you are exerting a little bit for something, So what you are saying is fine, but we don't have to discount the people who do that either, because that is their shraddha. They are physically taking the time to do that, which we are not. So वो अपने में है, हम अपने ढंग से, अब सभी अपने ढंग से करो. Or in the end, physical activity counts less, mental the more, obviously, because a person who is doing a physical action, उसका mind उसके पीछे नहीं है, तो उसका कोई मतलब नहीं होगा. Because अगर वो प्रसाद ऑफर कर रहा है और उसका ध्यान यहाँ वहाँ है, and it's like, then you're not transferring that love. So when I'm physically doing it, my mind better be in it also. And if I, for some reason, I cannot want to do it physically, which is fine, and मैं पूरे मन से और श्रद्धा से करूँ, understanding that everything has come from God, that'll work also. Manas puja is very big thing in Vedanta, because lot of times they say that there is a whole Manas puja that even in Chinmaya mission they do it. And they say when Bhagwan comes to me, how I will present myself or how I will take care of him. So then Manas puja में तो वो रत्न जड़ित उसके लिए सिंहासन पे बिठाएंगे उनको, बिकॉज हमारे आचार्य कहते हैं कि अगर भगवान को बिठाना ही है तो ऑर्डिनरी पे क्यों बिठाए, मानस पे करना है, तो रत्न जड़ित सिंहासन पे बिठाओ उनको, क्योंकि मन से तो हम लोग सबसे बेस्ट चीजें ला सकते हैं. So we can take time to do the mental puja. There's no problem at all. It'll give you the same result. Okay. Anybody else? Any comment or question or anything on this particular topic?
So Manas puja means mental puja?
Yes. So suppose if I'm on a trip, I cannot, some people love to do this physical puja, right? They find a lot of joy and all in it. If you cannot do it, then they do Manas puja. Or when we are sitting in the Yagna Vedi, we just have some limited stuff, but we want, hey, I want to give this also and that also. You can do Manas